wait for everyone to get on here, and then I'll start answering questions. Hey, Robby. For those of y'all just getting on, I'm just going to wait a few minutes until everyone gets on, and then I'll start answering questions. What's up, Larry? Hey, Mom. For y'all just getting on, I'm just waiting a few minutes for everyone to get on, and then I'll answer some questions. And y'all can ask me anything. I'm an open book, and I'm just going to answer all the questions I have as best as I can. Hey, Dad. Again, for those of y'all just getting on, I'm just waiting a little bit for y'all to get on, and then I'll start answering y'all's questions. Hey, Miss Hay. Tell Bruce I said hey. I hope he's watching. Okay, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and get started. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Jenna Gibson. I'm a 2021 pitcher from Arbor, Missouri. I play for the Oklahoma Athletics, and I'm committed to the University of Memphis. Thank you, Scott. Okay, so y'all go ahead and start asking some questions, and I'll answer them as best as I can. And I'll shoot you straight. Hey, Abby. Hey, Tyree. Okay, it says, being from Missouri, why did you play for a team out of Oklahoma? So I started playing for Fat City Angels, which was a pretty local team, about 45 minutes from where I live, but just it kind of broke apart and just went our own directions. So, I mean, I'd always played against Oklahoma Athletics whenever I went to out-of-town tournaments, and I knew they were so competitive, and I just knew that they were a good program and a good organization. So I can't even remember where me and Dad were going, but he was like, do you think you might want to stop and try out for the A's? I was like, Dad, like, they're Oklahoma. That's 7 hours from us. I don't know. And anyway, he talked me into it, and I did try out for Oklahoma Athletics, and I made it. And I loved Brian and Tim, and I just felt like that's where I wanted to be. And I called them up in Walmart, and I said, hey, Coach Brian, hey, Tim, I want to be an A. And so that's how that all got started. Says, what's your favorite pitch? I love throwing a curveball for sure. early in the count or down in the count. It has a really good break to it, and I can get under it and make it rise a little bit. And I can also get like a drop movement on it if I want. And I also really like throwing a change up because it makes the batters look silly in the box, and it's just a good pitch up in the count or down in the count. Hey Rick, how are you? Says, what advice would you give to my 14U players about the recruiting process? So one of the major things that I really want to focus on is communication, because communication is key with everything in relationships, families, teams. It's just key. You've got to have that good communication so you know, like, hey, am I on the same page as this person? Kind of what are we thinking? And it's also really important with college coaches because you want to create that bond, and although they can't respond to your emails until September 1st of your junior year, they're going to remember, like, hey, did Jenna send me emails, or is it just a sudden interest? And the way, like, you handle yourself in emails, you want to sound, like, you don't want to sound uninterested or like you're sending it to a whole bunch of coaches. You want to have, like, that one-on-one connection with them. So it's really good to send emails, and that can be your 2-week email, your 1 week list, just keeping that good communication. Another thing I would say is how you handle yourself on the field, and like whenever you talk to college coaches on the phone, you want to just really emphasize that you're genuinely interested in their program and what they have to offer, and you want to express what you can offer to them. But yeah. Says, did you always want to be a pitcher, and why? So no, I did not always want to be a pitcher. I used to catch, actually, and I was a stud, let me tell you. But I played for this little team, a league team called Sweet Heat, and we were losing really bad, and my coach was like, does anyone want to pitch? I was like, sure, like, I'll take you up on that, and I never pitched a day in my life. And so I went out there and did so bad. Like, I can remember it. It was so embarrassing. But I feel like whenever you fail at something, or whenever I fail at something, like, I don't want to fail at that again. I'm not going to look dumb again. So that just gave me motivation. Like, it added fuel to my fire to become the pitcher I am today. Hey, Kara. It says, how do you find a balance with school and athletics? So time management is a huge, huge deal, and it's huge in high school, and it's for sure going to be huge in college because you have that hectic schedule. I just know the priorities, and say my friend Abby texts me and is like, hey girl, like, you want to hang out? Well, if I've got tons of homework, like, I'm just going to have to be honest with her and say, look girl, like, I can't hang out today, but maybe another time. And then with softball, like, especially on quarantine, while we've been quarantined, I try and go to the gym in the mornings, and then I'll get my work done there. I'll work out, I'll hit, I'll pitch, and then I'll come home and I'm free to do whatever I want. So it's good, like, get your business done first, and then do your other stuff later on. And with school, studies come first, and coaches will tell you that. I mean, on every visit I went to, coaches always said, like, hey, your studies come first. So they know, they're upfront with you on that. They're going to help you and work with you with your scheduling. So, I mean, they're really good about that, and just having a good head on your shoulders and realizing, like, hey, I've got to do this work before I can do anything else. You've just got to find that balance. Thanks, Coach Cullums. I appreciate it. Hey, Maddie. Hey, Mandy. Says, I've noticed the amount of time you put into strength and conditioning. How important is it for a pitcher? What's your regimen? So for a pitcher, it's really, you've got to have lower body strength. So I try and do like lunges, squats, frog jumps. It's good to do like deadlifts and work on your shoulder stuff, your shoulder strength, and forearm strength is a huge thing for pitchers, especially with the curveball. You've got to have good forearm strength. I do sometimes I weight lift, but I've been doing body weights with one of my friends here lately while this whole coronavirus has been happening. And so we just do body weights and just like explosiveness stuff. So here's a guns, Larry. Tyray, ask again because I didn't see it. Let me see if I can find it. Tyray, I don't see it. Ask me again. It says, what made you choose Memphis? So I've been going to Memphis camp since I was like 13, 14, and I did like it. Like, I always knew I liked Coach Poole. Coach Helm wasn't there at the time, but I always knew I liked Coach Poole. I really liked Coach Lott. I knew it was a good program. And then I just kind of stopped going. I'm not really sure why. But I started going back whenever I was like 15, 16, 17. And it was like that connection with Coach Poole was still there. And it was, I love the Memphis coaching staff. And also, I want to be a teacher, and there's actually an elementary on campus. So that was also a really big deal for me. I knew I wanted to stay close to home. At least at the end of my recruiting process, I realized I wanted to stay close to home, just for different reasons. But Memphis was just everything I was looking for. I love everything about Memphis. Go Tigers, go. It's the best decision I've ever made. Tyray, you're a mess. He was my strength and conditioning coach, and he's trying to make me admit he's the best one I've had. My least favorite workout. You already know it's the ab roller. Says, tell us about some of your visits if you haven't already. I went on quite a few visits actually after September 1st. I didn't really start the recruiting process until I was probably like going into my 9th grade year, so I started super late. So I went to a couple D2 visits. I went on a couple D2 visits, like June, July. And then once D1 schools started being able to reach out, I did go to quite a few of those, but at the end of my recruiting process, I narrowed it down pretty much to Memphis and Louisiana Tech, and I just felt like Memphis was 100% where I wanted to be. I just love everything about it, and I can't wait to spend 4 years there. Says, what is the best thing you've done to gain strength as a pitcher? So on the workout side of that, I would say keeping like your arm speed up. There's a lot of drills that you can do for arm speed. I know Emmy touched on it yesterday. There's a drill, it's called the 10-second drill, and you throw as many pitches as you can in 10 seconds. It's like a rapid fire deal, and that's going to really work on arm speed. And then doing like deadlifts and stuff and working on your core strength is a major deal. And working on your legs, like your quads and stuff. on the mental side of that, I do want to touch on that. I struggled with the mental side of softball, like the pitching side, whenever I was younger. I'm going to admit this. I would cry on the mound. I'm ashamed of that, let me tell you. But it's good to just realize that it's just you and the catcher. Like, once you work, like Emmy touched on it yesterday, once you like work on it and you're confident in your skills whenever you're pitching, like you're doing your little workout, once you realize like, hey, like my curveball, that's really good. You just got to be confident going in, knowing like, hey, I'm a stud and I'm about to dominate this batter and she is not going to win this battle because I am a stud. So that's how I kind of think about it on the mental side. It says, how did your process recruiting work for you? I touched on this a little bit earlier, but I started the recruiting process pretty late, later than most actually, I think. And I went to camps. Camps are so important, y'all, because that gives you, not only do coaches get to see you, but you get to bond with those coaches and you get to make that relationship. For example, like whenever I'd go to an Ole Miss camp, I mean, Coach Smith probably didn't know who I was whenever I first started going. I'm just a small town girl, like they don't know Jenna Gibson. But the more I went and the more I showed my face to them, the more I said, hey, Coach Smith, how are you? That created that bond and that connection where whenever I'd go to camps, like at this age now, that he'd be like, hey, Jen, like, how are you? So it's good to go to camps and get that connection, build that bond and that connection with the coaches and see how they need to see not only how you handle yourself, but you need to see how they handle their selves. What advice do you have for athletes about social media? Y'all, social media is so important. Coaches are going to cross you off their list if they see something that's inappropriate or something that's derogatory, things that aren't encouraging or uplifting. I mean, you shouldn't be posting inappropriate things at all, but much less like if you know college coaches are going to be looking, because it's just a major turnoff. And it's like if you have a boyfriend, like you don't want them seeing like all your drama stuff. Like it's just not a good idea. And honestly, I only have Facebook and Twitter. I don't have Instagram or Snapchat. My mom doesn't want me to have it, and it's really helped me out a lot because a lot of stuff does happen on social media, and it's drama. I mean, it's filled with drama, so it's good that I don't have that. And yeah. What changed about your recruiting process once you had help? Before I started with NSR, I would say that I had no idea how to communicate with a college coach at all. I did not know how to handle my business. And Coach Robby, I mean, he's going to shoot you straight, and he wants his prospects to take care of their own business. He doesn't really want the parents to get involved because, I mean, the recruiting process, it's your journey. I mean, you as a prospect, you're determining your wants, your needs, your desires, what you want in a coach, what you want in a program. Just it's your process, and your parents should be involved, don't get me wrong, because it's a family decision, I feel like, or it was for me. But once I had the help of Robby, he taught me how to communicate. He taught me how to hold my phone in a video. I mean, he's taught me everything. And like Emmy said yesterday, I mean, he's just a friend now. I mean, I sent him a video last night of me calling him Uncle Robby. I mean, that's honestly how the relationship is. I mean, I could text him at 1 a.m. or I could text him at 8 a.m. and he's going to answer, and he's going to give me the best answer that he has. Hey, Lily. Thanks, girl. How did you decide what camps to go to? Well, whenever I started going to camps, I couldn't talk to the college coach, so Robby would do a lot of the communicating for me. And I just text him like, hey, I think I might be interested in so-and-so, so could you find out if they're interested for me? And so he'd let me know like who was interested, who wasn't. So if they weren't, then sometimes I might be stubborn and think, well, I'm going to go. It's just practice. Like, I don't have another camp lined up. And I would still go. But it's just kind of determining, like, say Minnesota's having a camp and say Harding's having a camp, but you know you want to stay close to home, then probably Harding, or at least for me, because Harding's closer for me. Then I might choose Harding because it is so much closer to home. So it's just determining like what you want in a school and what coaches, like the coaching desires you have. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Miss Hay. Larry, you're too much. At what age did you start with NSR? So I started with NSR going into my freshman year, I'm pretty sure. Honestly, I feel like it's been forever ago. I will coach Memphis. You already know. Hey, Aisha. Thank you, Keith. It says, how did you deal with rejection from college coaches you were interested in, if any? So, yes, I definitely did face schools that were not interested in me. But instead of thinking of it as, hey, like, this school's not interested in me, I used it more as, like, well, why aren't they interested in me? What can I do to improve my game that, that's going to make them wish they were interested and that was going to make them want to reach back out to me? And you can ask Robby. I mean, if he told me a school wasn't interested, I'd text him and say, like, hey, why? Because more than likely, if one coach thinks it, then others might too. And I didn't want it to be the case in another situation. So just using the, like, people who aren't interested as a fuel is going to help a lot, and not thinking of it as a negative thing, because I mean, it's like anything in life, you can look at it as a negative or you can look at it as a positive, and positive is always the way to go, and it's going to just make you work harder. Thanks, Dad. Love you. Favorite softball player and why? My favorite softball player is probably Kelly Barnhill. Just because I love the way she carries herself, and I feel like she's just a total beast on the mound, and she's outstanding pitching, and I love to watch her. I just feel like the way she carries herself is something I strive to do. But yeah. Thank you, Rick. Says, besides softball and besides recruiting, what did you learn about yourself in the recruiting process? Something I learned about myself is it's okay to have a good time. Sometimes you kind of get focused on just your goal, and it's good to see that determination and focus on that goal, but if you don't have some fun in there, it just is going to drain you. And so I think finding myself was a huge thing in the recruiting process, and it taught me how to communicate. I mean, if I didn't sign up with Robby, I probably wouldn't, obviously I wouldn't be on this live right now, but I wouldn't be able to do this live. I mean, I was so shy, and now I feel like I'm pretty bubbly, so it's brought me out of my shell for sure. What is your go-to pitch? I touched on it a little earlier about my favorite pitch, but probably a curveball, and also a changeup. I like throwing those. What age is the right age to get serious about the process? I've been told that no one is really looking at the 11-year-old 10U, 12U player, but which is where my daughter is now. Thanks. So like I said, I did not get started with the recruiting process until my 9th grade year. So I might not be the best one to ask about it because I did start so late, but I know they changed the contact rule because kids would be committing, say, 6th grade year. Well, my 6th grade year, I didn't know what I was wearing or eating the next morning. I couldn't tell you where I wanted to spend the next 4 years of my life at. So there's no way I could have made a decision that young. And as college coaches watch, like, young players, someone who's a stud in 10U might not be that good of a player once they get to 16U. You're a kid, you're still developing, you're figuring out, like, your body, you're figuring out, like I said, I started off catching, you're figuring out, like, what position you want to play. So I personally don't think colleges are really watching you at that age because you are still developing, but I'm not saying it's a bad idea not to go to camps because that is just another way to get your name out. So yeah. Thank you, Sheila. Did you ever get burned out playing and wanted to stop playing? So for those of you who do know me, I've struggled with injuries. I tore ligaments in my foot. I have fractured the growth plate in my shoulder. And so to come back from an injury or multiple injuries, that's really hard because it's like the U thing that you see. It's like you're up here and then that injury just brings you down here. And then you've got to work back here. So doing that whole process multiple times, that can be challenging and you can struggle mentally with that. But, I wouldn't say there was a point where I was like, oh my goodness, I want to quit softball. But there was a point where I was like, am I ever going to be as good as what I once was, or am I going to be better? But that goes again with, like, determination. Is I wasn't going to settle because I knew that I was capable of playing D1 softball, and I knew that I was capable of being one of the best, and I wasn't going to settle for anything less than that. So quitting for me wasn't really an option ever. It says, who are you most excited to play against in college? Probably any SEC school. That is a really good conference and it's just exciting. They're usually hosted on ESPN. So I would say like Tennessee because Memphis does play Tennessee. Ole Miss. Hey, Lindsay. What would you say to the 2021s who see COVID-19 impacting recruiting, camps, etc.? So I touched on this a little earlier with the videos, but videos are so important. You posting to social media, if you have it, gaining followers. I saw that, Rick, you asked this, which was funny to me because you do follow me on Twitter. And there's a lot of people on Twitter, on Facebook, in the softball community that are going to help you because, it's just out of the kindness of their heart. They want to help you succeed. So gaining followers and stuff and that relationship with people who want to help you and want what's best for you is really good. So like I said, posting videos is going to be really necessary because that's really the only way college coaches are going to be able to see you. And also sending emails, like I said earlier. You want to keep that communication. Even if they can't respond, it's still like it's good for them to know that you're still interested and they're like a prospect in your eyes. Thank you, Brent. Larry, oh my goodness. Y'all's trying to get me in trouble on here. I love you all. I love you all. Smile, Larry. Was having a legitimate pitching coach at the college was it an important factor when choosing a college? Yes, it was for sure, because I feel like the one I go to now is legitimate, and I didn't want to go to anything less than that. And Coach Helen, I love Coach Helen. I mean, everything about her is just great. I sent her a video today about a pitching drill that she recommended I do to work on my hip hinge, and I texted her the other day videos, and she's really good about breaking it down. She'll send me pictures back of like a position that I'm in that could be better. She'll send me videos, everything. She's so great. Perfect game pitched. I could go get this. I wrote on a softball. I could go grab it, but I know I was playing for a team called Arkansas Nemesis, and I did pitch a perfect game. I don't really remember the details out of it, and I think I did have one in school ball actually as well. Hey, Naomi. Thank you, Sheila. That's so sweet. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Nia. That's so sweet. How do you handle losses? Again, Emmy said it perfect yesterday. I'm like her. I hate losing more than I love winning. But whenever people talk about like you losing a game, I don't like the word lose, because I just don't like the word lose. I don't like losing. But I feel like instead of losing a game, you learn from a game. You learn, hey, could I have done this better? Did I talk to my teammate in a way I shouldn't have? Did I dump my hands out in a bat? Did I talk to my coach in a rude way that I didn't need to? I feel like instead of looking at it as a loss, you can definitely look at it from a learning aspect and use it to your advantage for sure. What's the best advice you would give to everyone, to adults and dads and moms, kids and families? I would say, again, communication is key. You need to be on the same page. Your parents need to know what page you're on, to know like what camps you're interested in. They need to know. You need to be an open book. I mean, all parties involved need to be an open book, because if you're not on the same page, that's not going to help anyone out, and it's just it's putting like needs and wants, and it's not going to work if you're not on the same page. Hey, Haley. I'll answer a couple more, and then I'll let y'all get off of here. What are you wanting to major in? I want to major in early childhood education. I've always wanted to be a teacher ever since I was little. My grandma and grandpa would buy me little workbooks, and I have like a it's like a name thing, I guess, that teachers use, and it says Miss Jenna. I've always wanted to be a teacher. It's always been something I've had a passion for. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Coach Kellums. I appreciate that. It says, give some little girl watching you advice on getting to your level. Something I would say is don't do it alone. You have people to help you, and it doesn't have to be NSR. Like Emmy said, your little brother, your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your cousin. It can be anyone. Just sitting around your house, like, you don't have to go to the gym. You can grab a sock and work on some spins, sitting on your couch, eating potato chips and watching Netflix. It's just taking each opportunity that's given and using that to benefit you, because you're not going to get better by just sitting at the house, especially in this quarantine. Like, you've got to find that motivation. I normally get up around 9. This morning I woke up at 8. I go do my workout because I know that's a priority. I do my pitching, I do my hitting, and then I'll figure out like what I'm going to do after that. I'll come home, eat something, do some schoolwork, and just, it's good to get your priorities straight for sure. What would you say to parents that only want their kids to stay close and not explore other opportunities? This is a tough one, because as a parent, you do have the authority to say, look, like, I don't want you to go far. But overall, I feel like it's somewhat the kid's choice. This is a tough one because it could go either way, honestly. Of course, parents want what's best for their kid, and if they don't feel like their kid is going to succeed on their own far away, or maybe it's selfish reasons. We've all been selfish. I know I have. But I would say, let your kid, if they feel like they can succeed and do good on their own far away, then more power to them. I don't know. That's how I feel about it. I never wanted to go far off, really, so it wasn't that much of a problem. Thank you so much, Miss Amy. That's so sweet. No, I did not know that. Hi, Shanna. Okay, y'all, it's been about 30 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. But thank y'all so much for watching. I've enjoyed answering all y'all's questions, and I hope I can get on here and do it again sometime. So thank y'all. Bye.